So you want to make money with cryptocurrency trading, but you don't know where to start? Well, in this video, we're going to start with support and resistance. These are basic indicators that are going to help you not just in your investing journey, but your trading journey, right? So just to explain the difference between those two, we have two different investors in cryptocurrency, and neither one is right or wrong. It just depends on what your strategy is and what your method is. Today, we're going to be talking about the trading side of things. But the very first investor is the investor, right? He just buys crypto, or she buys cryptocurrencies that at low valuations and just waits for them to increase in value, and then later on takes their profits, and does whatever they want. Then you have the trader who is also doing that same thing, but also capitalizing in between those different movements in cryptocurrency. Because if cryptocurrency just did this, right, just went in a straight line, every single one of us would probably be rich, multimillionaires and multi-billionaires, but the market does not do that. The market does this. It often moves sideways. Sometimes it'll move down, and sometimes it just has all these ebbs and flows. But in that, there are profit opportunities in between those price movements when it's going up and when it's coming down. And we'll get into all that later. We'll have other videos on how you can short and long the market. But today we want to talk about just some basic indicators, which are support and resistance, that you can add to your trading strategy so you can determine and predict where price will go to, whether that be up or whether that be down, with a goal of optimizing your buys at low valuations and also optimizing those sales when they go up in value. So with no further ado, let's go ahead and jump into this one. We hope that you're going to get value out of this. And if you do, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, comment, all the things. Let's get into it. So we're just going to switch the screen on over here. And the very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to start on the Bitcoin chart. Now, everything that we're going to talk about today can be applied to just about any chart, and we hope that you do take this information and apply this to many charts, because the more you practice and the more you visually see this on the screen, the more it's going to make sense to you. You'll start to understand how price is rebounding in between these support and resistances and why all of this makes sense. So the very first thing we're going to talk about is TradingView.com. TradingView is where we're going to be doing most of our charting. This is where mostly everybody is looking at in the entire world, unless they're trading on different exchanges. But for the most part, 99% people are using TradingView.com. So if you don't have an account, they do have free options. They also have paid options. We are premium users because we're taking our trading very seriously. If you are planning on taking your trading very seriously, we would recommend that you get the premium option, because it's just going to open up more things to you. But if you're just starting out, you can absolutely start a free account and just get practicing. You can go down into the description below. We'll have a link down there where you can sign up. Okay? So we're looking at this Bitcoin chart, and you're seeing a whole bunch of different things. We're going to have to create separate videos for this, but you're seeing time frames, you're seeing all these indicators, you're seeing these candlesticks, you're seeing these big wicks down here. But what does all of this mean? The things that we're going to pay attention to today are the time frames, and then just these candle bodies right here, and then just this horizontal line tool. So explaining the time frames right here, first and foremost, what we usually do is start with a top-down analysis. What does top-down analysis mean? That means we are starting with the highest time frame and then working our way down. Now, in saying that, you're probably wondering, well, why aren't we using the 3-month, 6-month, or 12-month? And the reason that we aren't using this is because the monthly has given us enough, the month has proven to give enough data to determine on a lower time frame where the market can potentially go to. I hope that wasn't confusing. So just to say that again, we're using the monthly time frame to determine what the lower time frames are going to do. And let's just make sense of that right now. So when you're on a higher time frame, you have a lot of data here, but you don't have as much as the other time frames, which can kind of confuse you. So the less candles that you have on your chart, the more accurate you're going to be in determining where price can go. Let's make an example out of that. On the monthly chart, you can see each of these candles hold 1 month's worth of data. So the candle that we're in right now at the moment is September. This candle back here was August. This candle back here was July. And everything that you're seeing within this candle, right, you are seeing what happened within that month. So if we just zoom in here, we can see that price went to, and I'm going to just circle it right here, price went all the way up here. It also moved all the way down here. But it ended up closing right here, which is what we're paying attention to, which is the candle body, okay? Because nothing else matters. The only thing that you want to pay attention to is where did this price close at within this candle body. All right, so as we go down to the weekly time frame, we will see a different story. We will start to see more candles on the chart. As we go down to a daily time frame, you'll start to see even more candles on this chart. And this can be somewhat confusing in determining the trend and direction of where this market is going. If we go down to a 4 hour, a 1 hour, a 30-minute, just keep on going down and going down, you can see all these different candlesticks. Now, just to make even more sense of this, as we go to like 30 minutes, 1 hour, 4 hour, and even the daily, right? Let's go to the daily time frame. In the daily, all of these candles are representing 7 days worth of data, okay? So we have all of these candles here. This is about a week's worth of data that is locked into these candles that is forming that weekly candle. This weekly candle is just 7 days of data, but condensed into this one candle right here. And you'll see that as you start to go through these different candles and then start to look at the dates down at the bottom, okay? So going back over to the monthly time frame, so what we're going to do now is start plotting out our different support and resistance zones and then making sense of this on our chart. So what we really want to pay attention to is some of the major reversals that have happened in the market and where these candle bodies are reacting to the most. So let's make sense of that using our horizontal line tool. All you'll have to do to get the horizontal line tool is come over here to this button right here, and then you will see a bunch of different options. You can see the horizontal line tool, you can star that, and you will see it pop up on this bar right here, and I'm just gonna move that back over to where I had it. So I'm gonna click on this horizontal line tool, and I'm gonna plot a support. Now a support is where the price is catching itself. Think of this as basically a floor, right? If you drop something on the floor or drop something on your desk, it's going to stop right where you dropped it or wherever the desk or wherever that level is, right? And that's exactly what happened here. We saw price come up here and then dropped all the way down to this floor and caught itself before reversing back up. Now, just to paint a picture of what resistance is, we have a resistance up here. Now, a resistance is basically a ceiling where price is trying to push itself through, and if it goes through that ceiling, then it will ascend higher, and if it doesn't, as we see right here, then it will fall back down to the next supports below. So we hope that you see that right here, and what we're going to do is just overload this chart with a bunch of different supports and resistances, just so that way you have a visual of what this looks like. So we have a support floor over here. We have another support, and we have a resistance over here. As we can see, price is trying to come through here, but it failed, came back down to that support. We're going to plot another one over here where we have some resistance. We're going to plot another one right here where we have some support. We're going to plot another resistance over here. We're going to plot some more over here because we have some more resistance. We have another support floor right here. We have, and let me just adjust this, and you can see that I'm moving this directly to where these candles are. This is where you want to be plotting your resistances and your supports, right where these candles are. These wicks, we'll have another lesson on that and pay attention to that later, but as of right now, that's not important. We just want you to practice plotting these zones on your chart so that way you can visually see this as price is bouncing back and forth. And if I were to zoom out just a little bit, you will see price is reacting to these lines just perfectly, right? Just coming up above them, moving to the next resistance zones, busting through that, going to the next resistance, failing to break that resistance, coming back down to support, and so on and so on. Now your charts don't want to look like this. This is very overloaded, and it's going to be very confusing to determine where the major reversals are happening in the market. So what we're going to do is we're just going to delete all of this, and then we're just going to mark out some of the more important reversals in this market that we want to be paying attention to. And I'm just going to reset the chart. So how do we spot a major reversal? Well, the way I like to look at this is I'm going to plot a support right here. This will be considered a major reversal because price absolutely exploded past this zone right here. We're going to plot another one over here where we see a major resistance, which is right up here at this level. We can see that price had a really hard time breaking through that and shot itself right back down. We have another reversal right down here where we can see price absolutely exploded down to the downside. We also have another zone over here where we have a support where it absolutely exploded to the upside, blasted through this resistance, and went right up to these zones. Okay, so this is basically support and resistance. I don't want to add any more to this. Basically, you're just plotting zones where price is bouncing back and forth from and determining where price can go back to. Now, if you were to look at this right here, now plotting these zones, right, or plotting these different support and resistance lines, you're asking yourself, well, how do I know when to buy in the market? How do I know this is going to be the best time to purchase? Or how do I know if this is a good time to actually be selling in the market, right? What we pay attention to is the historic data, and the historic data is going to give us a sign as to where price can go to, whether that be down or whether that be up. Looking at this right here, as price came back down to this zone right here, this was a very optimal buy zone right here because price just had a huge run up from here. It reset itself, and now we have some data back here telling us where price could potentially go in the future. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. We plotted this because we're looking at the historic data and we are determining where price can go to in the future. That's how we are starting to predict whether price is going to go up or whether price is going to go down. All right, so if I were to delete this right here and just looking at where we are currently in the market, we can see that price has room to move itself up here. So currently we are at this zone, right? And we have the potential to go back up here. We also have the potential to move back down here in the market as well, because this is another support zone. This is a major support right here. So we're looking at these candle bodies, historic data. Okay, don't get confused with this right here because it blasted through. We're looking at this next support floor right here where price blasted through, and this is where price could potentially come back down to. Right now, this isn't perfect. If this was perfect, like I said in the beginning, all of us would be multimillionaires and billionaires. You're going to have to spend a lot of time on this chart because just plotting these zones out right here is not enough for you to be like, okay, well, I'm just going to enter the market, and just hope that it goes up to this zone. You're going to have to watch as price reacts to these different zones and then make a determination as to whether or not you want to enter the market or not. And as you can see, we have different resistance points and support points in the marketplace. Even right down here, we have another support zone where it could go here. And if it broke this support, then it could send itself down here. But you wouldn't know that unless you're spending time on the chart and then plotting different things out, not just on Bitcoin, but also Ethereum or XRP or Gala or AVAX or any other cryptos that you are watching in the market. And in fact, some of those cryptos are actually going to move different as well. There's moments where Bitcoin is absolutely skyrocketing, and then there's moments where altcoins are doing absolutely nothing. And there's moments where Bitcoin dominance is coming down, and I'm getting a little technical now, but there's moments where Bitcoin dominance is coming down, meaning money is moving over to altcoins, and altcoins are absolutely rocketing. So this is just going to come down to time, practice, just plotting these zones on your different charts and then watching them as they move up and down throughout the day, and then making a determination as to whether you want to buy or whether you want to sell. And you'll start to see as price starts to react to these different zones, and you'll start to have it like ingrained in your mind that, okay, this is what I need to do because I see it just went here. It had a huge reset. Now there's a possibility that, we could start coming back up here. Or if it even broke this zone right here, it could just shoot down to the next, support floor, wherever that is, which would be somewhere over here. Actually, we have a support right up here, right? So if it broke that, then it would go down here. And that's pretty much the basics of support and resistance. I'm going to switch back over here for a moment. And we did this on the monthly time frame, but you can also, what you will want to do is after you have this plotted out on the monthly time frame, what you'll do is, I'll just plot a couple zones right here just so they'll pop up on, actually, that's not popping up correctly. I used the wrong tool. I'm going to plot a couple zones right here. Let me get rid of this. Oh, actually, that's where price is. I'm tripping. And I'm going to plot something like right here and just go down to the weekly time frame. We can start to see more candles, right? And then what we want to do is refine this a little bit more. You'll start to see that maybe it's not exactly on that zone where the candles are. You can move that down just a little bit just to refine it. You can also look right here and see if these lines are matching up, and then just switch back and forth to see if your analysis and bias is matching up as well. Now, these lower time frames are sometimes used for Well, let me say this. The monthly, weekly, and the daily are used for long-term investing. In other words, projecting where price can go on a longer-term basis, right? In days or weeks or months' time. And then if you want to, and we'll talk about this in another video, what we do is intraday trading. So what we'll do is we'll plot something, you know, on the monthly, weekly, or daily, or even on the daily itself, and then we'll jump down to lower time frames like the 4 hour or 1 hour, and then start to look for entries. Now we're not going to jump into that today. That's some exciting stuff right there. We wanted to keep this super simple. So what we want you to do is, like we said, just go start plotting your support and resistance zones, and you can even drop down to these as well and start seeing how price is reacting and start spotting different support and resistance zones here too, right? So we have some resistance right here, we have a support down here, and so on and so on. So watch this video as many times as you need to. Go through these different time frames, starting with the monthly and working your way down, and just start finding support and resistance zone and start seeing how price is bouncing back and forth between them. We don't want to add too much to this, and there are some other indicators that you can use, which we'll have videos on, like trend lines, you know, using the time frames, plotting out zones, and all that good stuff. But we wanted to keep this super simple, and we'll create some other content and videos around that. But go out there, get on the Bitcoin chart, start a TradingView account, and start practicing this, because this is really what leveled up our trading game, you know, not just on the investing side, but also actively being able to capture those movements in between price going up and down. So with that said, we hope that you got value. If you have questions, make sure you comment down in the description box. And we hope that you have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe. All right, y'all. Peace. See y'all.